Question number 18. Course Consultants Limited is engaged in BPO industry. One of its trainee executives is the personnel department has calculated. One of the trainee executive in personnel department has calculated labor turnover rate as 24.92 from the last year by using flux method. Oh, they have used flux method. Now flux can be based on replacement, flux can be based on accession. We don't know what they have used, but flux has given me 24.92 as an answer. Following is the sum data provided by the personnel department for the last year. 540 I had in the beginning as far as data processors are concerned, and 1080 joined. So 1080 plus 540 was the total strength. 60 left, subtract that. And my answer tallies with 1560. Am I right? Wonderful. But look at payroll processors. You have 40 at the end. 60 have left. In spite of 60 leaving your organization, you're still left with 40. Wow. 60 left, you still have 40. That means the total strength was 100. Total strength was 100, but 20 we can see joined this year. 20 we can see joining this year. That means 80 were right from the beginning. So 80 were right from the beginning, 20 join, I had 100, out of 100, 60 left. So I am left with 40. Now 2 question marks, that means 2 balancing figures can be calculated for supervisor as well as voice agents. But look at managers. Assistant manager, total, on the last day 30, nobody left. But 20 joined in the current year. 20 joined in the current year, nobody left. And you have 30 at the end. That means the starting point must be 10. Senior voice agents, we had 4 in the beginning. Nobody joined, nobody left. Still it is 12. Magic. Senior data processors, we had 8 in the beginning, 34 at the end. Nobody joined, nobody left. Still 8 has gone up to 34. There must be some information. We'll wait for it. Team leaders, we don't know how much was in the beginning, how much was the number in the at the end. Look at the next part. Employees transfer from subsidiary company. If employees are transferred from subsidiary company, they must be joining us. Senior voice agents, 8. Oh, so I can write 8 here. Now it tallies. 4 I had in the beginning, 8 were transferred by subsidiary, that's why the total is 12. Senior data processors, 26. Oh my God, even this number we found out. Even this number we found out, 26. 26 were transferred. 26 were transferred from subsidiary. 8 I had, so that's why the total is 34. Employees transferred to subsidiary. To subsidiary means they have left us. Team leaders. Employees transferred to subsidiary. To subsidiary. That means, can I say they have left us? Team leaders, 60. Team leader, 60. Assistant managers, 10. Assistant manager, 10. Oh, so the entire calculation will be different now. See, 30 are still with me after 10 leaving me. That means the total was 40. Total was 40. 20 joined. That means my opening number must be 20 here. My opening number must be 20. Am I right? Yes. And we are not sure about this. Proceed. At the beginning of the year, there were total 772 employees on the payroll, and the opening strength of supervisor, voice agents and assistant manager is 3:3:2. Okay. Supervisor, voice agents and assistant manager ratio is 3:3:2. If the ratio is 3:3:2, for opening number of workers, if the ratio for opening number of worker is 3:2, and that 2, if it is 20, that means 3 has to be 30, no? I hope you are understanding this. Question says, supervisor, voice agents, assistant managers were in the ratio 3:2. Supervisor, voice agents, assistant manager were in the ratio 3:2. So if 2 is 20, 3 has to be 30. So 30, 30, 20. Now if this is 30, this is 60, total 90, nobody left. Okay, so this will also be 90. 30, 20 joined, 50, out of 50, 20 left, you are left with 30. So more or less we are filling the entire data now. I hope this part is clear. Next, the company and its subsidiary, the company has decided to abandon position of team leaders, and consequently all the team leaders were transferred to subsidiary. All the team leaders were transferred to subsidiary. So they are giving you justification of transferring 60. They say that this position is abandoned. That means there is no closing balance. If there is no closing balance after transferring 60, and since there is no one joined, no one is joining in the current year. If no one is joining in the current year, that means 60 was the opening balance. I hope this is clear. The company and the subsidiary are maintaining separate set of books and separate personal account. Yeah, that is why we can actually show that to and from wala calculation. We are supposed to find out labor turnover rate using replacement and separation, and verify the labor turnover rate calculated by flux method by training. Okay, that means basically you are supposed to calculate turnover ratio as per separation, as per replacement, and then we are supposed to verify flux and comment accordingly. Okay. Just get the total of opening balance, opening stock. Data processors 540, payroll processors 80, supervisors 30, voice agents 30, assistant manager 20, senior voice agent 4, senior data processors 8, and team leaders 60. How much is the total? Opening total is 772. Am I right? I will write here. 772 is the opening total. Correct? Look at this. Can you see this part? So 772 tallies. That means whatever we have ascertained, whatever we have found out is 100% right. So now let us complete the next part. Let's find out how many joined. 1080, 2060, 2020, 826, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many left? 60, 2010, 60 again, 210. Now just imagine, 772 we had, 1, 2, 3, 4 joined, minus 210, 1, 7, Uri Baba, 1796 must be the closing balance. Let's see. 1560, 40, 90, 30, 30, 12 and 34, 1796 tallies. So can I say 772 opening, 1796 772 opening, 1796 closing. If 772 opening, 1796 closing, that means average must be 1284. Average employees 772 plus 1796 divided by 2. So that comes to 1, 2, 1284. That comes to 1284. This is your average employee information. 210 separation. So if I want to find out labor turnover ratio based on separation, based on क्या हम यहाँ चाइनीज में लिखते हैं कभी? So based on separation, how much is separation? 210. So 210 divided by 1284 multiplied by 100. 210 divided by 1284, 16.36%. For replacement, we'll have to first decide the replacement, guys. Please understand this. I'm opening one more column in the question only. You can do it in the solution later on. I am going for replacement column. Now focus only on joined and left. 60 left. Can you see that? 60 left, 1080 joined. Can 1080 be replacement? No. 1080 is accession. What do we want? Replacement. So at the most replacement will be 60. Am I right? 60 left, only 20 joined. Okay. Nobody left, 60 joined. If no one has left, there can't be a replacement. 20 left, 20 joined. 10 left, 20 joined. 10 left, but 20 joined. But 20 is accession. Since left are only 10, my replacement will be restricted to 10. Nobody left, so no replacement. Nobody left, no replacement. 60 left, but nobody joined. Dash, dash, dash. So total replacement will be 110. 110, 1284 into 100, 110. Hey, 8.57. Let me go for flux. 210 plus 110 divided by 1284 into 100. 210 plus 110 divided by 1284. 24.92. Don't you think we have seen this somewhere? Yo, 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 yo. calculated flux. Answer, flux ratio as 24.92. So when the question tells you, verify labor turnover rate calculated by flux method by training, you can easily comment based on this. What will be the note? I'll write here so that I will not go to the next page. Trainee has used replacement for calculating labor turnover ratio. Please excuse me for the handwriting. It is jumping right now. I don't have an option. Trainee has used a replacement for calculating labor turnover ratio by flux method. You got it? You copy this part first. This is the most important part. Copy this properly. You can prepare this in the notebook. I will write down the ratio here, 3:3:2. 2 is 20. So naturally 3 will be 30. We got all this and then the solution. First labor turnover ratio, separation, replacement flux, and we realize that flux is calculated based on replacement. So I have written this note. Trainee has used replacement for calculating labor turnover ratio by flux method. Question number 19. The management of BR Limited is worried about their increasing employee turnover in the factory before analyzing the causes and taking remedial steps. It wants to have an idea of profit foregone as a result of employee turnover in the last year. See, it seems there is a labor turnover. Now, before they analyze why it has happened and all that, they want to know how much is the profit foregone because of that. We discussed that in the theory, if you recollect. Whenever there is a labor turnover, a few employees leave your organization, no matter, you must be replacing them, but the same replacement is not possible. There will be definite some difference in the efficiency. Plus, these new workers will take some time to get settled in the organization, which will reduce the productivity. Sometimes it will take time to replace employees, to get new employees occupying the same position of those who left. So things will be difficult, things will be different, there will be a loss of time and there will be a loss of productive time. Now suppose if there is no labor turnover, we would have saved that time, we would have continued with the production, we would have produced some units in that span of time and we would have sold them in the market. Now whatever we would have sold in the market would have fetched some profit to us. That would have given us some profit. That profit is lost. That profit is lost. So the question wants us to find out how much is the profit lost, how much is the profit foregone. Last year's sales amounted to 83,03,300. Last year's sales amounted to 83,03,300 and PV ratio was 20%. The total number of actual hours worked by direct employee force was 4,45,000. So my team has worked for 4,45,000. That is why I could produce something, and whatever I produced has given me, whatever I have produced, that has given me a sales of rupees 83,03,300. PV ratio, profit volume ratio is 20%. Sales is 83,03,300. Concentrate properly. क्या करें? So I would like to find out contribution first, which is sales multiplied by PV ratio. So 83 lakh 3,300 multiplied by 20%. 83 lakh 3,300 multiplied by 20%. This gives me 16 lakhs 60,660. Remember, for a business, for a company, or for a manufacturer, sales is never a profit. We need to understand contribution. Contribution is some type of profit. You will understand that in detail once I do marginal costing with you. Basically, contribution is, you must have done that in FM also, sales minus variable cost. So it is some sort of intermediate profit. And since my fixed cost is not getting affected, my contribution and profit both are same. So I can take this as profit. My company has not earned 83 lakh as profit. My company has earned 16 lakhs as profit. And this profit is earned by the company by working for 4,45,000 hours. So 4,45,000 hours company has worked for, giving me profit of 16,60,660. As a result of, come back to the question. As a result of delays by personnel department in filling vacancies due to employee turnover, 1 lakh potentially productive hours were lost. Oh my God! Had there been no labor turnover, I wouldn't have lost 1 lakh. That means instead of 4,45,000, I could have easily worked for 5,45,000 hours. Just imagine, you worked for 4,45,000 hours and your profit is 16,60,660. Just imagine if you would have worked for 1 lakh hours extra which are lost. Can I say your profit would have been more? Exactly that we are supposed to find out. Exact that part we are supposed to find out, friends. I hope you are getting me. 4,45,000 hours the team has worked for. The team has not worked for 1 lakh potential productive hours. So whatever we would have produced and sold, that will give me loss of profit. Now, the actual direct employee hours included 30,000 hours attributable to training. Please, friends, understand one thing. Training is also a productive time. Training means you are making your workers ready for the production process. You are ready for the system of your organization. Training is also considered as productive time. Understand this. Please do not subtract training time. Productive does not mean you are actually involved in production. Productive means actual production plus all supportive activities which cause you production later on. So training is a productive time. Please do not think of deducting 30,000. So direct employee hours, 4,45,000 hours included 30,000 hours attributable to training new recruits, out of which half of the hours are unproductive. See? Let me find out total productive productive hours first. My question says total hours were 4,45,000. Am I right? Out of 4,45,000, half of 30,000. Half of 30,000. That means 15,000 hours are unproductive. And that is a reason why I'm subtracting 15,000. Please don't misunderstand. I am not subtracting 15,000 because they are training time. No, I'm subtracting 15,000 because they are unproductive. If this line wasn't there, I would have ignored this information. Even if it is training time, it is considered as productive time. I'm not subtracting 15 because it is training. I'm subtracting 15,000 because it is given to be unproductive. Half of this is unproductive. Half of 30,000 is unproductive. That means out of 4,45,000, only 15,000 hours are unproductive, which are required to be subtracted. So can I say your profit of the current year of 16,60,660 is an outcome of 4,30,000 productive hours. That means every hour gives you 3.862. That means every hour gives you, or rather every hour gave you this year 3.862. You understood this much? You worked for 4,45,000 hours, but out of 4,45,000 hours, 15,000 hours are unproductive. That's why I'm subtracting. So 4 you have produced something, you have sold something, and that overall activity has given you profit of 16,60,660. So your 16,60,660 is earned on the basis of 4,30,000 productive hours. So that means every productive hour gives you a profit of, a contribution of, a revenue of, a income of 3.862. Now since you have not utilized, 1 lakh productive hours, can I say you have lost an opportunity of earning 3,86,200 from the market? Each hour gives you 3.862. Each hour gives you 3.862. You have not worked for 1 lakh potentially productive hours. That means you have lost an opportunity of recovering. You have lost an opportunity of recovering 3,86,200 from the market, or rather earning so much of profit from the market. And apart from that, there are a few more cost structures. To labor turnover, settlement, recruitment, selection, training, 43,820. 26,740, 12,750, 30,490. So, if you add everything, you realize that there is overall loss of 5 lakhs. Please understand what I'm talking about. I will give you a run-through revision of the whole thing. Please concentrate. Your team has worked for 4,45,000 hours, which include 30,000 training hours. Doesn't matter. Half of 30,000, 15,000 is unproductive. Okay. So, since 15,000 hours are unproductive, I am taking 4.3 lakhs, 4,30,000 hours as productive time. You have worked for 4,30,000 productive hours. Whatever you produce was giving you total sales of 83,03,300, which is giving by utilizing 4,30,000 productive hours. That means every productive hour was giving you profit of 3.862. You have lost 1 lakh productive hours because of labor turnover. You couldn't work for 1 lakh hours. You should have actually worked for 5,30,000 productive hours, but you have worked for only 4,30,000 productive hours. Question says you have lost 1 lakh productive hours. Just imagine if I would have worked for those 1 lakh hours, 1 lakh into 3.862, 3,86,200 I would have easily earned from the market. I have lost that opportunity. And since there was labor turnover, I had to incur 1, 2, 3, 4. I would have easily saved this had there been no labor turnover. I would have earned something, I would have saved this. That means due to labor turnover, I have lost this and I had to incur this. So if there was no labor turnover, I would have earned more, I would have saved my expenses. So my overall loss of profit comes to 5 lakhs. My overall loss of profit comes to 5 lakhs. I hope this part is clear. Have a glance on this solution now. Question number 20. In a factory, working 6 days in a week and 8 hours each day. 6 days, 6 days in a week. Each day. So can I say my total hours are 6 days into 8 hours, 48 hours. In a factory working for 6 days and 8 hours, that means in a factory working for 48 hours in a week, a worker is paid at the rate of 100 per day. A worker is paid at the rate of 100 per day basic plus DA 120% of basic. He is allowed to take 30 minutes off during his hours shift for meal break and 10 minutes recess for the rest. Oh ho ho, that means every day he is not going to work for 40 minutes. Every day he is not going to work for 40 minutes. So for the overall period of 6 days, 40 minutes into 6, divided by 60 because we want answer in hours. Can I say he has not worked for 4 hours? So whatever that worker is getting for 44 hours. Whatever the worker is getting, that is being paid to the worker for 44 hours. How much you are paying that worker? You are paying basic 100 rupees into 6 days and DA. How much is DA? 120% of basic. So that comes to 720. Oh my God, that means you have paid 1320 to that fellow for working for 44 hours. So if you want to know the hourly rate, it is 1320 upon 44 hours. Rupees 30 per hour. Have you understood the question so far? The team has worked for 48 hours, or the team has been paid for 48 hours. We know that for 4 hours the team cannot work because every day 40 minutes there won't be a work. So 40 minutes into 6, 240 minutes in a week. 240 minutes is 4 hours. So 4 hours in a week you're not working. Out of 48, 4 hours you're not working. So whatever payment is made to you, 100 per day for 6 days and 120% of that all payment of 1320, that all payment of 1320 is for 44 hours. So this whole payment of 1320 is for 44 hours. That means hourly rate is 30. Am I right? Now that fellow worker during the week, his card per hour has worked for 15 hours, 12 hours and 13 hours on job XYZ respectively. Oh. So can I say labor cost related to those number of hours must be charged to that particular job? If I am taking lecture in Bangalore branch, my labor will be charged to Bangalore branch. If I am taking lecture in Hyderabad, my lecture fees will be charged to Hyderabad branch. If I am taking lecture in Chennai, my wages will be charged in Chennai. If I am taking lecture in Coimbatore, lecture fees of Coimbatore branch will be charged to Coimbatore branch. Are you understanding this? But my rate remains same across India, unfortunately. But it will be charged to different cities. It will be charged to different branches wherever I am taking the lecture. The time not booked was wasted while waiting for the job, and the cost in cost accounting, how would you allocate wages for the wages of the worker for the week? Oh, it's very simple. Please understand this. Statement of labor cost allocation. Please concentrate. Job X, job Y, job Z. 15 hours, 12 hours, and then 13 hours. 30, one more 30. Rate is 30 per hour, no? And for 13 hours, you must have paid him 390, 450, 360, and then 390. Baba, total is only 1,200. But you have paid this fellow 1320. That means out of 1320, only 1200 is getting allocated to jobs. Now what is to be done with the balance? Concentrate here. The time not booked was wasted while waiting for the job. That means this balancing figure of 120 will be a waiting time charge. I'll tell you how. You are working on job X. You are done with job X. Immediately job Y will not be available to you. Immediately job Y will not be available to you, no? So there will be a waiting time between X and Y. Job Y, once it is over, you may not get Z immediately, but you are getting paid on per day basis. So if I complete in a span of 8 days, if in a span of 8 hours, I completed work in 6 hours, I'm sitting idle for 1 hour and then I'm getting a job. So 6 hours spent on job X, 1 hour I was idle waiting for the job, and last 1 hour I started with job Y. Still I will be paid 100 rupees per day. But since it is normal, it will be, since it is can be charged to any job, it will be transferred to costing P&L. You step into the shoes of my customer. I'm executing job X for you. I'm executing job Y for someone else. Now there is a waiting time between X and Y. Do you think I'm going to do you really feel that you will accept my proposal if I charge this 120 to you job X or to you job Y? You will never accept that. Your argument will be, if your job X, your argument will be, boss, job X was done. After that you were waiting. Why are you holding us responsible for that? Job Y will say, boss, I was not there only. Why are you charging it to us? We were not there only. So whatever is the waiting time between two jobs, as question says, is not customer's fault. So it has to be borne by me as a manufacturer. It will be transferred to costing P&L. That is why out of 1320, only 1200 will get charged to the job for the actual hours worked. And waiting time will not be charged to any job. I have to bear that burden as a manufacturer. That is why it is getting transferred to costing P&L. But remember one thing. If there was a note in the question saying that waiting time was on job Y, like I started with job Y. I started working on it and my customer says, wait. I have a different plan. Take this plan. Give me 1 hour, I'll give you that plan within 1 hour, but stop the production for 1 hour. I have a different planning. I have to wait. Now this for job Y, no. In that case, entire 120 I would have added to job Y. Job Y should bear that burden. But this is not a scenario. If the waiting time is for X, add that cost to X. If the waiting time is for Y, add that cost to Y. If the waiting time is for Z, add that cost to Z. Let me tell you the current scenario. Current scenario clearly says it was wasted while waiting for a job. So it can neither be charged to X, nor to Y, nor to Z. And that is why it is to be borne by me. So this is how the calculation is to be done. Out of 1320 paid by you, 1200 will be allocated to job X, job Y, job Z. So whenever you will prepare cost sheet of job X, you remember cost sheet. Whenever you prepare cost sheet for job X, this will be your second line, direct labor. Cost sheet of job Y, direct labor will be 360. Cost sheet of job Z, direct labor will be 390. So, you understood this part. If that waiting time, if it is related to job, let the job bear the burden. If the waiting time is not related to the job, you bear the burden. Transfer it to costing P&L. So this is a solution. Just have a glance on it. Question number 14. It is seen from the job card for repair of customers' equipment that a total of 154 labor hours have been put in as detailed below. 200 in a day, worker is working for 8 hours, so it is 25 rupees per hour. You're paying 100 rupees for 8 hours, that means this is 12.5 per hour. And you're paying 300 for 1 day of 8 hours, that means hourly rate is 37.5. Correct? A is getting a rate of 25 per hour, B is getting a rate of 12.5 per hour, C is getting a rate of 37.5 per hour. Worker A has worked for so many hours, B has also worked for so many hours, C has also worked for so many hours, that is fine. In terms of an award, in an employee conciliation, the workers are to be paid dearness allowance on the basis of cost of living index figures relating to each month, which works out to 968 for the relevant month. The dearness allowance is payable to all workers irrespective of wages, irrespective of wage rate, if they were present or on leave, with wages for all working days. Okay. So basically, 968 is the total amount. 968 is the total amount to be distributed. 968 is the total amount to be distributed among different employees. So, each worker has to work for 8 hours on all weekdays and 4 hours on Saturday. The worker are, however, paid full for Saturday. So even if you are working for 4 hours, you will be getting payment of 8 hours. That's fine. Workers are paid overtime according to Factories Act. Excluding holidays and total number of hours work out to 176 in the relevant month. The company's contribution to Provident Fund and ESI is absorbed into overheads. Work out wages payable to each worker. Great. So basically, total hours are 176. Total number of hours work out to 176 and dearness allowance is 968. Question has clearly told you that irrespective of leave, irrespective of whether the worker is working or not,
I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need
so
your
if I have
permission
total
to help.
workers working for me for total 176 hours, and if I want to distribute 968 in all workers, naturally hourly base is the most suitable base. So 968 amount to be distributed in all, 176 hours work done by all. I can always say that my dearness allowance to be paid to workers will be at the rate of 5.5 per hour. So apart from you have to pay them. That means I need not find out whether the worker was working or not. For me, I have total 968 to be distributed in all workers. I have total hours given by the workers, given in the question. So basically hourly base is the most viable and the logical base for distribution of dearness allowance. So 968 will be divided by 176 and I'm getting 5.5 per hour as dearness allowance rate. This will be paid to each worker based on how many hours the worker has worked for. Got it? Lovely. As far as wages is concerned, we have to apply Factories Act. Now, go to page number 3 of your notes. See this. You know what Factory Act says? Your overtime will not be applicable unless you cross 9 hours or 48 hours per week. You may have any system in your organization, whether you're forcing your workers to work for 8 hours, 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day, or 8 hours a day. Doesn't matter. Overtime can be paid to workers only if they cross 9 hours per day or 48 hours per week. What if they cross both? Then pay the higher amount. If they are working for 9 hours, more than 9 hours, and if they are working for more than 48 hours, then whichever figure gives you the higher contribution towards workers, that will be paid. And second important factor here is, as per Factories Act, overtime has to be paid at a double rate. That means if your worker is working at the rate of 100 rupees, overtime will be paid at the rate of 200. So if worker works for 10 hours, paid for 9 hours at normal rate and 1 hour ke liye, for 1 hour he will be paid at a double rate. Do you understand the meaning of this? That means eventually you are paying worker for 11 hours. 9 hours normal rate, 1 hour double rate. 1 hour double rate is equal to 2 hours at normal rate, no? 1 hour double rate. 1 hour at the rate of 100. Total amount 100. 1 hour at the rate of 200. Total amount 200. That means it is as good as 2 hours at a normal rate of 100. I hope you are understanding this part. Hey, see, if the workers work beyond 9 hours or 48 hours week, the practice to pay overtime at a higher rate. And the payment of overtime consists of two elements, normal wages and the extra payment, premium. This amount of extra payment paid to workers is known as overtime premium. According to Factories Act of 1948, worker is entitled to overtime at double the rate of wages. These two factors you need to understand. More than 9 hours or 48 hours, whichever is higher, and double rate. Now please concentrate here. Go back to the question. This you can copy later. Let me complete the chart in the table itself. Please concentrate. .5. Let's talk about A first. 10.5 hours he has worked for. So for 9 hours, I will be paying him at a normal rate, and for 1.5 hours, he will be eligible for overtime, crossing 9 hours. 8 hours. .5 higher rate. 9 hours normal rate, 0.5 overtime rate. 9 normal, 1.5 double. So eventually if you see, 44 hours normal rate, 5 hours. 44 hours normal rate, 5 hours overtime. Now your overtime is 5 hours. If you consider 9 hours per day. Your overtime is 5 hours if you consider 9 hours per day. But if you consider 48 hours per week, overtime is only 1 hour because team has worked for only 49 hours. So how much is in excess of 48 hours? Only 1 hour. But how much is in excess of 9 hours per day? 5. So 5 will be taken as a base. And remember, for 44 hours, normal rate will be paid. For 44 hours, normal rate will be paid. But for 5 hours, double rate will be paid. That means it is as good as you are paying for 10 hours at a normal rate. So total hours 54. Total hours 54. I hope this part is clear. Factories Act says overtime should be given in terms of higher of 9 hours per day and 48 hours per week. I have 5 hours applicable as overtime hours if I consider 9 hours per day, but only 1 hour if I consider 48 hours per week. So 1 hour overtime will not be applicable. 5 hours of overtime has to be given. The benefit is given to the worker, not to the manufacturer. 44 hours normal rate, 5 hours overtime rate. Overtime rate is double. That means whatever I will pay for 5 hours at a double rate, I would have paid that for 10 hours at normal rate. So 44 plus 10, 54 hours at normal rate I am supposed to pay to Mr. A. And I have the hourly rate. 8 hours, 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 8 hours. Neither he is crossing 9 hours per day nor he is crossing 48 hours per week. So I will be paying at the rate of 12.5 for 48 hours. Topic over. This fellow again 9, 1.5, 8 dash 9, 1.5, 9. This is 52 and this is 5. Correct? Now. Please concentrate here. You have 5 extra overtime hours. But for 57 minus 48. 57 minus 48. Oh my God, what is this happening? If you consider 9 hours per day, overtime is 5 hours. If you consider 48 hours per week, overtime is 9 hours. What is to be done? Per day or per week? Whichever is higher, we are supposed to pick up. In case of A, we picked up 5 hours because more than 9 hours per day was the criteria. But here in case of C, the criteria is not 9 hours per day. The criteria will be 48 hours per week because 9 hours per day is giving hardly 5 hours as overtime. But 48 hours per week, if you consider, it is giving you 9 hours overtime. And remember, "48 hours will be paid at a normal rate. 9 hours will be paid at a double rate. So the total payment will be of 66 hours. Are you getting me, Angie? So, "48 hours per week will be applicable for C, and B is getting nothing because neither he has worked for more than 9 hours a day, nor he has worked for more than 48 hours a week. Is that part clear? In case of A, 9 hours criteria is greater than 48 hours per week. In case of C, 48 hours per week criteria is more than 9 hours per day. I hope there is absolute clarity here. So, basic 48 hours, normal rate. Above 48 hours, 57. See, since 48 hours per week criteria is applicable, I don't need this. I do not need this. 48 hours plus 18 hours. Here I was concerned in per day calculation. Here I am concerned with per week calculation. So 48 hours per week normal rate. 9 hours overtime double rate. 9 hours overtime is 18 hours payment at a normal rate. So 18 plus 48, 66 hours. So A will be paid for A will be paid for 54 hours, B will be paid for 48 hours, C will be paid for 66 hours. You can copy this later. Is that done? So now, what have they asked for? Work out wages payable to each worker. It's very simple. Concentrate. Oh, sure. Statement of labor cost. Please concentrate here. A, B, C. 3 workers. An hourly rate is also available with you. 25, 12.5. 25, 12.5, 37.5. 30.5, 18, and 43 is hourly rate revised after considering DA. Number of hours we have already calculated. There is 54, 48, 66. 54, 48, 66. This will give you labor cost. 30.5 into 54. 30.5 into 54. 1647. 48 into 18. 43 into 66. This is the cost. So this is what my labor cost is. 5.5 per hour, flat to all. 25, 12.5, 37.5 are rates, hourly rates. So basically 30.5, 18 and 43 are the revised rates to be paid. Hours we have just now calculated based on this. So you can copy this later. Normal hours, bonus hours. I hope you understood this part. Factories Act. Overtime should be paid at a double rate, and overtime hours will be decided between higher of 9 hours per day or 48 hours per week. A was applicable for 9 hours per day because only 49 hours the team has worked out, A has worked for. So 5 extra hours are always greater than 1 extra hour. But in case of C, we did not consider daily rate because it was hardly 5 hours overtime. If I consider 48 hours a week, he has worked for 9 extra hours. 9 is any time greater than 5. So weekly rate was applicable. So 48 hours weekly plus 9 hours overtime are 18 hours double at a normal rate. So 48 plus 18, 66 hours payment. This is what we have. Yes, the next question of employee cost, labor costing topic is question number 15. In a factory, the basic wage rate is 100 per hour and overtime rates are as follows. So the basic rate is 100, overtime rates are given. Before and after normal working hours, 175% of base rate. That means if you are working for more number of hours after or before the normal timing, 175 per hour will be paid. 175% of 100 is 175 per hour. Sundays and holidays if you work on, you will be getting 225 per hour. 225% of 100 is 225. So normal hours 1 lakh, overtime 20,000, overtimes on Sundays and holidays 5,000, total 1,25,000 hours being worked for. That means this will be paid at the rate of 100, this will be paid at the rate of 175, this will be paid at the rate of 225. This will give me the total structure. 1 lakh hours into 100, 20,000 hours into 175, 5,000 hours into 225. So 1 crore 46 lakhs 25,000 is the labor cost incurred so far on 1,25,000 hours. So can I say the weighted average rate during the organization is 117? Okay, the team overall, if you talk about the entire year, the team has worked for 1,25,000 hours. Some part normal rate, some part 175, some part 225. But I can say the overall calculation for the entire organization, if I say I have incurred 1 crore 46 lakh 25,000 for 1 lakh 25,000 hours, that means for me as a company, it comes to 117 per hour. There is some job set where 1,000 hours are normal, 100 hours are overtime before and after, and 25 hours are Sundays and holidays. 1125. So 1125 into 117 can directly give me the answer. But question is asking you something. You are required to calculate labor cost chargeable to job Z, only job Z, and overhead in each of the when overtime is worked regularly. If overtime is worked regularly, remember this, if overtime is worked regularly, that means the company does not have a policy of appointing new people. Existing people will only continue working. That means it is a company's policy which is going to prevail even in the next year. So the situation is absolutely normal, and everywhere, every year, this is going to happen. So that overtime that is happening in the current year is not a non-recurring one, it is a recurring one. That means it cannot be separated as overheads, it is a part of labor cost only. But when you see the second part, when overtime is paid irregularly, that means that overtime part will exist only in the current year, which may not be there in the next year. So since there is some sort of uncertainty, it can't be treated as direct cost. Since there is an uncertainty, it can't be treated as direct cost, it has to be treated as indirect cost. So the overtime premium will be treated as overheads. 100 rupees, labor cost. 75 and 125 that you are paying extra as a premium, that will be treated as overtime. And that will be treated as overheads because it is irregular. And the third part is, it is worked as a request of the customer to expedite the job. Now if your customer is forcing you to work more to complete his job, let the whole burden be transferred to the customer only as labor cost. Regular shortage of labor will exist even in the next year, so whole amount is labor cost. Overtime is requested by the customer. If you ask me to work extra for you, the whole thing can be charged to you as a labor cost. But if it is irregular or treated as overheads, and base part 100 will be treated as wages. Now don't waste your time in writing this. In your study material, you already have this question. Illustration number 5. Illustration number 5, page number 3.19. You already have this. See what they have done. Basic wage rate 100, another wage rate 175, third wage rate is 225. Can you see that? I'm talking about this part. I'm talking about this part. Now, what we have done while discussing, they have also done the same thing. 1 crore 46 lakh 25,000 is the cost. So 117 is the rate. 117 is the rate. Now, first part, when overtime is regularly worked, the overtime premium is treated as part of employee cost, and job charged is 1125 into 117 straight away. I told you it is a labor cost. But in the second one, where overtime is worked irregularly, read the part. Basic wage rate is charged to the job and overtime premium is charged to the factory overheads. So 1125 into 100 base rate is labor cost, and overheads will be 75 into 100 hours 125 into 25 hours. I'll explain it to you here. See. $1125 into 100 will be labor cost. This is gone because this is any which way is getting paid at 100 rupees. You are paying 75 rupees more and here you are paying 125 more. So these figures will be treated as overheads and this will be treated 75 and 125 for those hours will be treated as overtime. That's what the question says. That's what the solution says. This is factory overheads. Can you see that? Can you see that? Factory overhead 75. Factory overhead 75. And factory overheads 125. But in the third case, entire amount is charged as labor only, as employee cost and overtime premium. So this is what the solution is. Only if it is irregular, the premium part should be charged as overheads. This is what you are supposed to understand. If it is a regular one, if it is going to happen in the next year, that means there is no uncertainty, there is a recurringness, then it is a labor cost. And if it is specified by the worker, whole amount will be charged as labor. Of course, employee cost will be separated and overtime premium should be shown separately. That's it. So this is a solution that you have for this question. You can mark this. It is illustration number 5, somewhere on page number 3.19. Please copy this. You have this in the solution, so there is no point in solving it in the class here to waste your time. We have so many different more important concepts to be covered. So, first your basic calculation, weighted average rate of 117, and then regularly wages, irregularly overtime premium, overheads, charge to jobs.